We are turning our attention to hurling at 8:33 this morning. A reminder, OTB AM is live with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night edition available now. Colm Galvin, former Clare hurler, joins us. Colm, good morning to you. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Very excited time for Clare hurling, given the quality of the performance that they put in against Limerick. Did you see it coming?
Yeah, no, to be honest, I didn't. After the performance against Tip, I was sort of doubting them a small little bit, I suppose, as many people did. But after that performance, it was unbelievable. You sit in the stadium and all the Clare supporters were roaring and shouting. I was a bit jealous not to be on the field, to be fair. But yeah, great turnout, great result, and just overall a great day.
Was there a change in approach from the Tipperary game that was significant, or was it just that the team took a bit of confidence from going well early on in the match? I guess what I'm saying, was there a significant tactical tweak from the first day out?
I think it was just more of attack minded approach, and the backs seemed to be a lot tighter, which enabled the forwards then to be able to push on and get scores that maybe they weren't able to get the week before. So, it's only a 7-day turnaround. So, there was actually a 6-day turnaround. So, it was Sunday to Saturday. So, for them to be able to float that performance was unbelievable. You'd like to Ryan Taylor, Dave McInerney, John Conlon, centre back, just all pushed up in their men, and just made it very hard for the Limerick backs to get a score, which is very hard to do. Aaron Glenn missed a couple of easy frees, probably. Same with Darren Burns. But overall, it was a great performance overall for the whole team.
Yeah, so what went wrong against Tipperary then in retrospect, apart from the self-inflicted problem with goals?
Yeah, that didn't help. We gave away two fairly easy enough goals, but I just don't think the backs were pushed up hard enough on the forwards of Tipperary. When they did do it against Limerick, it paid off. They probably pushed up in the likes of Kyle Hayes and Darren Burns as well in the forwards. That made him run everywhere. You saw Shane Mean coming on; he was running over and back the field. Because I'd say he's a nightmare to mark. So, but just pushing up, I think, made a big difference in our play anyway.
I'm wondering as well, like, is the fact that Clare needed to win to keep their championship hopes alive and got the win, like, I'm sure that's a good sign, Colm. You have that big game in a couple of weeks as well against Waterford. That'll be in Thurles, of course, neutral venue, but the fact that Clare got the job done with a little bit of jeopardy as well is a good sign.
Yeah, probably, yeah. They knew they had to at least draw, if not win the game, so for them to be able to do that was savage. As you said, playing Waterford and Thurles is going to be another big game. You have to win that as well. So I think they're going to beat Waterford, hopefully, anyway. But at the same time, you just don't know. With this Munster Championship is so tight and everyone's so good at this level, it's going to be a tough game. But after coming out walking out of Gate Grounds last day, I was very happy.
Decent spread of scorers for Clare as well, which is definitely a positive for Brian Lowe. And even in the first half, you had great scores from Tony Kelly and Aidan McCarthy and Mark Rogers, among others. That's something that clearly, to win All Ireland, to win a Munster Championship as well, you need people popping over from all sorts of angles. So that's definitely a positive for Brian Lowe.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. The amount of scores the lads got from out the field was great, but it was I thought it was their work rate was probably set them apart, to be honest with you. You looked at Shane Donnelly, he didn't score a whole lot, but my God, the work that man did, and same with Ryan Taylor. But if we can get a few more goals in our system, we'll be happy anyway.
The question now as to where Limerick are at kind of came up after the match, and John Kiley was talking. We spoke to Sarah O'Donovan yesterday about how John Kiley was saying it was a very downbeat Limerick dressing room, which I guess sets a fire under their arses for the rest of the season, which could lead to worrying things for everyone else. Is this something, do you think, that opens up the championship a little bit, this result, or do you think Limerick will just push on from here?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. It probably, like, in one way it was great to get the win, but it probably did wake him up a small little bit, Like, the other thing about it is, like, Keane Lynch come off injured. Sean Finn went down at half time. So there are two massive losses for them. I know Mike Casey comes in full back. He's a savage full back as well, so you won't be too worried about that. But like Keane is their sort of playmaker in a way. So they'd be worried enough about that. Broad Hegarty and Commons is sub. So were they playing their full card? I don't think so. But I don't think to be overly worried. I think John Kiley has a few tricks up his sleeve yet.
I'll talk a bit more about Limerick in a moment, but in terms of Clare and what they've learned from last season, where obviously they were involved in one of the best games that we've ever seen in the Munster final against Limerick, the one that went to extra time. Ultimately they fall flat against Kilkenny in the semi-final, and there was no specific reason. I don't think we ever anyway heard afterwards about something, and I wouldn't say they're that far away from Kilkenny really. Like there's no way they're that close to Limerick, and we've just seen them beat Limerick. And is that still going to hang over Clare, do you think, until they get out of Munster and beat a Galway or a Kilkenny and just go, okay, there's two championships here. Whether or not you win or lose in Munster, they have to park that and then go on and take the All-Ireland series separate.
No, I don't think so. Brian Nolan's very level-headed man. He knows what he's doing. We had a lull day against Tipperary. There's no denying that. We just didn't perform. That was simple as. But I'd say they got so hyped up for that Limerick game. I just hope it doesn't take it out of them. I really it was such a big game for them to win inside the Gaelic grounds against Limerick was just massive, and sitting in the stands to watch that was unreal. I think they're going to bounce on from that hopefully, and push on. But I don't think look, it was just a bad day against Tipperary as well. It was just we were trying to get ahead every time we got the ball, but we left two soft goals, whatever, and killed us.
And the Kilkenny game last year was hanging over the team in terms of championship performances. You put that back to back with the Tipperary game, and you're like, oh Jesus, what's happened here? And then all of a sudden, this performance against Limerick, it absolutely doesn't come from nowhere, because their performance against Limerick have been excellent in recent years. But it's very important to have stopped that rot and now begin anew. And so suddenly the next game is absolutely massive, because if they win that, then they're definitely going to qualify for the All-Ireland series at the very least, and you give them a great chance of qualifying for the Munster final.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And players don't need to be told that either. They know themselves, they know what they have to do, and they know that they need a big performance the next day for any hope of qualifying for the Munster final, as you said. But from such a high, to try and keep it going is going to be hard for them maybe. But I've great faith in them, in that they will do that, because the players are there. I actually watching Dave McNerney walked off the field nearly 5 minutes after the final whistle. He wouldn't even talk to the supporters, nothing. He walked straight into the restroom, because he knows what has to be done. So that's a massive mindset to have. For him, he knows that's only a Munster Championship, one win. So for him, I was watching him. It was mad. Myself, I think it was Malone as well. Colm Malone walked into the dressing room straight away. They know what has to be done. They're not silly. They've been around a long time. So that was a great sign for me anyway, that they know the next day is a big day as well.
How important is Brian Lohan in kind of setting up that mindset, Colm? You're a man who would have shared a dressing room as well with Brian as manager, and I know he's probably a man of few words, but when he does speak, you listen. Absolutely, yeah. He's a very quiet guy when it comes to talking outside of training, but when he's inside there, Jesus, does everyone listen? Absolutely, yeah. Really nice guy. Just very, very fair. He'll tell you what he's thinking, and there's no bull about him. When he wants you to do a job, he'll let you know. When he doesn't want you to do a job, he'll let you know. Just a really, really sound, solid guy. How will the players who are part of the team ignore all of the noise about the fact that it's Davy next time up? Do you know what? The team is so young now that a lot of them wouldn't have actually trained under Davy.
bar Tony, John, Davy, maybe one or two more, but that's it. Sods. The rest wouldn't have played under him. They're all so young. So that won't affect them at all.
They will have everybody in the county coming up to them and going, "Oh, it's Davy next, Davy next, Davy next. How are you going to go against Davy?"
No, they're probably worried about the sweeper. It's if anything comes up. No, look, they won't be worried about that at all. Davy done a massive, in my career as well, done a massive favour to us. He was a great manager too. You know, his heart's in the right place and stuff like that. So to be no bad aroma around that anyway. But look, it'll be an interesting game. But they're going to set up, and you know, we'll be going out to win the game anyway, hopefully. And our forwards are flying at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see who picks up who.
I have one last question. You talked there about Kyle Hayes and Dermot Burns and what Clare did to try and diminish their impact on the game, and it's clear they managed that. So do you think there's a template there? Can other teams do what Clare did, or was it specific to the talent that Clare have at their disposal?
Well, it's a bit of both really. You try and go Mark Tony 1-on-1, best of luck to you, because he'll be roaming around the field. If you do the same to Shannon Donald, best of luck as well, because like you can set up a defender if you want in front of them, but the lads are well able to take points from outside as well. So you like the likes of Dave Sherrills, you'd likes of Dermot O'Connor, and you have just John Conlon as well, as well able to take points from out of the field. So you either sit a man back in front of the full forward line, or you don't. It'll be very interesting to see what happens anyway.
All right, good stuff having you with us this morning, Colm. Thanks a million for joining us.
No bother, thank you.
It's Colm Galvin, an All-Ireland winner with Clare in his time. I'm just looking at the odds here. Clare are now 10-1 to win the All-Ireland. Limerick are still odds-on favourites, 6-4 on at this stage. It's funny how one win, you know, actually I don't know what price Clare were heading into last weekend, but there was a good chance they weren't going to make the All-Ireland series. There's still a chance they don't make the All-Ireland series. You know, like they have no gimmies left, but they've won on paper the hardest game. And,
a few troubles at Waterford as well after that game against Cork, and the fact that Waterford don't have the home advantage, given all the work that's going on in there, and it's going to be in Thurles, gives Clare a bit more of a hope, you'd imagine, as well in that game. So I'd fancy Clare to win that one and progress.
You would, you definitely would.